Hi everyone, my name is Amani Yousuf, and this is the third episode of the All Souls exam discussion. This time this is the Forest Scout edition. In this podcast, me and another staff member attempt to answer abstract, almost unanswerable philosophical questions from Oxford University's All Souls College exam, which is known to be the world's hardest exam in history. Today I'm here with both journalism teachers, Mr. Delfava and Mr. Leyden, and so be sure to watch the two previous videos. So without further ado, here's the first question, which Mr. Delfava picked. Why are top female tennis players so much more prominent than top female footballers?
Oh. Good morning, Amani. Thank you for having us. To be honest, I'm going to kind of argue the opposite a little bit, that because I have a personal stake in the matter. That I do think that women professional football,
I think they meant soccer players.
They are soccer players, but in the world they're called football players, personally are more prominent. But in answer to your question, I think tennis players are more well-known because it's an individual sport. Okay, they're out there on the court all by themselves, and they get the focus that a team sport necessarily doesn't get. And another reason why I think that tennis players can get more recognition and prominence is because of the viewership. When I think of some of the tennis matches, they're on more, available TV channels, whether it's ESPN or the actual networks. So whereas I know outside of major, whether it's the World Cup or the Olympics, women's football is mostly on streaming services, and it can be very difficult to find them.
Yeah, I would agree. I also think there's a whole other factor of, obviously, the names Serena Williams and Billie Jean King, but I think there's a lot of wealth. Obviously, there's so much wealth pumped into the Olympics and Olympian female soccer players, but I think I know Wimbledon goes on every year, so I think there's a lot of wealth with that, and a lot of intense viewership, and a lot of notorious, not necessarily not notorious, but famous English celebrities go. I know the royal family goes to Wimbledon a lot.
Yeah, they get a lot of hype.
Yeah, and I think because, like you said, it's an individual sport and it's been around. I actually know that I think tennis started in France, and it was created, the rules. That's why they have the word love as the rules, so that poor people couldn't figure the rules out. That's how it started out the game.
Interesting.
So I think from there
works for me.
Yeah.
But I think, why would you argue that top female soccer players are more famous or more well-known?
Because my daughter is one. That's why. So I've got a personal stake in the matter, and I do think. And my kind of hope is that, and I'm going to bring another sport into it, that there could be a Caitlin Clark effect with women's sports in general. That if there is going to be a time for, whether it's women's basketball, women's soccer, women's tennis, to capitalize on the popularity, it's now. There always seems to be certain spikes in viewership connected to a certain sport. I think back to 1999. Brandi Chastain, women's soccer player, scored the winning goal in a penalty kick for the U.S. in the World Cup, and it became a seminal moment in women's soccer. Now, part of it was because of her celebration, where she whipped off her shirt and was waving it around her head, and that's kind of become a moment that everybody remembers. But there was a huge uptick in the popularity in women's soccer right after that happened. So I think other sports now can hopefully take advantage of the Caitlin Clark effect, and we can boost the popularity in women's sports.
But soccer just never has that long-lasting effect. I feel like there's been several moments in my life where people said this is going to be the time when soccer becomes a big part of American culture, and it seems to fade. Women's soccer, I think, has had a lot more success than men's soccer, which is interesting to figure out why that is. I think part of it is their success, how good they are. But when it comes back to the tennis question, I think you touched on something. It's the history of the game, too. It goes back to the 1800s, and they play men and women at the same time. And some of these individuals, right, are icons, right? We could name more female tennis players, maybe, than we could name male tennis players. They've always had that sort of at the same time success. Also, I think women's tennis is more fun to watch. I'm not a huge tennis fan, but I feel like their rallies are longer. I feel like it's a little more of an interesting, exciting game to watch.
Yeah, it's not a power game like the men's is.
Right. So you see these more longer rallies. But also the individual, like you have to have somebody who has charisma and who's really good. That's what people love about Caitlin Clark. You see that in tennis with the Williams sisters and some other icons from tennis.
I also think, like you said, there's the history factor, but there's also, I know they, with Will Smith and then two other girls played the Williams sisters, and then also like Serena Williams was at the Met Gala, and she had like her very like famous look, and she wore like Nike sneakers. So it also just like goes back to, I think like by introducing like the fashion world, and then you have a whole other like side of people watching it.
Maybe like a Tiger Woods effect too. Like somebody comes along, Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods, who's like almost bigger than the game and pulls people in that normally don't watch that game because they're so good, so charismatic. There's something about them that they want to watch. I mean, I watched women's basketball with my father-in-law, like every game, right?
You also
start to
Iowa,
finish.
though.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't, you know? So, and like everyone was gathered around to watch it. I can't remember a single game that like my mother-in-law or my mom would watch from men's college basketball. It's because they had to see Caitlin Clark. If soccer got somebody like that, do you think it would pull people in the same way? Or is it because it's a team sport or it's a sport that people aren't into that much?
Now, personally, like I obviously can name plenty of women's soccer players now, and they do have those transcendent athletes. But as you said, it's more of a team sport. I know basketball is a team sport, but Caitlin Clark, goes above and beyond that. And I think it's harder for individual soccer players to have such an impact on the sport of soccer as Caitlin Clark did on the sport of basketball.
Yeah.
I also think everyone, like, so many people in all ages, especially, I think, like, from, like, ages, like, 5 and up, like, subscribe to March Madness. Well, that's, I think, how, like, she got her attention. And so I think since that's every year, that also contributes to, like, more people. And I just think it's more of an so-called like American game, so which is why people I think are more attentive to it. I also think it's interesting how everyone's called like baseball's America's pastime, but I feel like it really isn't anymore. I could be wrong. I feel like no one. It's like everyone goes crazy for football.
Well, that could
Football's
be a completely different podcast if we start talking about it. Because being a baseball guy, I always still think that.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, but you're right though. That and I think that's one of the reasons why, and I don't want to go too far into this, baseball is doing such, strong effort to quicken the pace of the game so that, viewers can, hopefully viewers will come back to it.
Oh, this is Mr. Leyden's question. It was number 17. Are streaming services good for music?
So I was thinking about this one a lot. When I was in college, the way you got music completely changed. So I was in college. Mr. Delfava was probably in his 35th year teaching. You could all of a sudden download any song you wanted on your computer, and everything was at your fingertips. And it was like quasi-legal, but like everybody was doing it, right? And I think it's obviously now that Spotify and Apple Music is available for $10 a month, you get every song ever made at your fingertips. It's obviously amazing for us, right? And it's probably great for Spotify and the streaming services. It's great for the record companies who now aren't even producing like records or CDs or anything like tangible anymore. They're just promoting it. So they're making record profits. But for an artist, it seems like almost impossible to make any money. I did do a little research. Let me ask you a question. If Mr. Delfava and I came in here and we recorded an awesome song, right, and we put it on Spotify together, right, and we had 1 million streams, right, how much money do you think we would make?
Not much, based on the question. I would think a couple thousand.
Yeah, 5,000 would be about how much we would make. Now, the record company, if we had a record company, right, would take their cut, which is like 30 to 40%. And then we have to pay taxes on it. So Mr. Delfava and I would basically get about $1,200 each, right?
We're not quitting our day jobs.
Yeah, and there's about 98% of bands on Spotify that don't have 1 million listens for a song. It's like it's almost impossible to make money. So I think it's a little bit of like a problem with our society in general, which is like things might be great for consumer, great for the companies producing it, but for the actual artist, they kind of get screwed.
Yes, I was listening to the Smartless podcast this week, and John Bon Jovi was the guest, and he talked about that very issue, is that it's the artists now, they're not looking at their musical ability, they're looking at their social media influencing. If they have the followers, the music will go with it. It used to be the music would be first, then you would follow the artist. Now it's the other way around. Okay, you better have the followers before you have the music, and I don't think that's good for music. Now I can go way. I was thinking about this. I had a little. We're gonna go a little story time.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Going back, the sad part is when I started to think about the years. I know it's not. I'm going back 40 years. Yeah, I was a sophomore in college, and it was Valentine's Day. Radio station was allowing you to call in to make requests. So I made a request for I'll Be There by the Jackson 5 for my then girlfriend at the time, and hope my wife Elizabeth doesn't watch this podcast. And I kept listening to the radio for them to make that request. And I must have called this station 15 times asking if they had played it yet or not, because there were times where I'd have to maybe go to class, shockingly. And so finally they played it. And what I had to do is I had to have a tape recorder next to the phone or next to the radio, and I'd push record and listen to the song because I wanted to, them play because they made the request. This goes from Ray out to nameless girlfriend at the time. And at the end of the song,
to be like, this goes out too.
And at the end of the song, because I had called so often, the DJ was like, Ray really wanted you to hear that song, Diane. That was her name.
Name drop.
Name drop. And that kind of story can't happen anymore because you have every song at your fingertips. You guys don't know what it's like to have to sit there and wait for a song to come on.
Anything.
Yeah.
Yes, with John Cusack with the yes, it's exactly.
I remember recording songs off the radio, and you were like hoping that the DJ wasn't talking over the beginning of the song or the end of it because you wanted to get it recorded. Another little story about that, because I said obviously it seems like for the consumers, streaming music is amazing because every song's at your fingertips. But I do think you lose something. So when I was a kid, you would have to buy a CD, right? And CDs would be like $15, $17. So that was like serious investment for me, right, to buy a CD. So I remember you'd buy the CD because you liked one song you heard off the radio, or it was your favorite band, or your friend said it was great. You'd buy it, and you'd often be disappointed at first. You'd play it, and you'd be like, oh, it's a bit of a letdown. But like you spent your $15 on it, and you don't have every song you can imagine at your fingertips, so you'd keep listening to that. And I'd listen to I was like doing homework or going to sleep or cleaning the apartment or whatever, and I would start to love that album. Like it would be a slow burn for me. But that doesn't happen anymore because if you don't like it immediately, every song imaginable is at your fingertips and you just move on to the next song, which I think has to drastically change the way record companies, what songs that they promote, what albums. It's got to be something immediate. There's nothing really kind of deep or takes a little more time behind it. Probably changes the way you order your CDs. So I do think you miss something with that.
That's exactly what drives me crazy when I'm in the car with my daughter and she's in charge of the radio. You never hear full songs anymore. You hear 20, 30-second snippets. Even if you love the song, okay, next one. And where
it's our attention deficit.
Yeah, back in our, you would listen to, sit down and, for me, put the, needle on the album and listen to the whole first side of the album, flip it over, listen to the whole side of the album, lyrics on the, on the inside sleeve.
You'd be studying at that stuff, right? Because this is what you were concentrating on.
Yeah, I know this is the get off my lawn moment, but
totally.
Those are moments that you guys will never really know. But and it's interesting to see, vinyl has made somewhat of a comeback because of the sound quality.
And it's like a vibe thing. Like you just put the album on, it's just on there, right? Which I wouldn't give this up. Like I wouldn't give up streaming for that. That's a little more of a nostalgic moment because it is amazing now. I can listen to music, whatever I want, hear things I'd never heard before. And that's what's good for the artist too. Like you can get your music out there a lot easier. But if the ocean is filled with so many different songs and artists, even if it's out there, are people listening to it? You got to be promoting yourself. And if you don't have a record company promoting it for you, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I have this conversation with my family a lot. If I could live in any other time, I think if, race and gender weren't a factor, I wouldn't go that far back. But I think, I'd love to be a kid in the 80s because I just think the culture is a lot different. And everyone was so much now social media obviously impacts everything. That's a whole other discussion. But I think there's being Pakistani, I've noticed that like food is a timeless thing where it brings people together, because like here it's a lot of like fast food, and I don't think the food is like made with love. Like when I see my grandparents cooking and then the meal comes together, we all like bond over it, and it's really made with love. I think that's like a timeless thing. I think music, sometimes like when the new Taylor Swift album comes out, I'll have like a listen party with my friends.
That's awesome.
Which is really fun. But I think now like people don't like, younger, like my generation doesn't gravitate around music the way people used to. And I also think my mom always says this, music now doesn't tell a story the way it used to. And I think that's because, like you said, people have to have a following, so whoever's the most interesting in like someone who's my age's eyes, that's why. And I think, so I would agree. I don't know what it's like to listen to music during such a cool time, but I think, so I don't know if I would give it up because I don't know what it would be like, but I can definitely see why I would miss it.
Just to play a little bit of devil's advocate for like that nostalgia viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
if you were a kid in, say, the 80s and you didn't like the mainstream music, you really had fewer options because the radio would just play the mainstream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a lot harder to find like punk or hip hop if you lived in certain towns where it wasn't available to you and you didn't have a lot of radio. Like we grew up in the Chicago area, so there was enough variety on the radio. But it wasn't so much for my friends that I knew in Iowa. They would talk about there'd be one radio station and just play the same classic rock all the time. If you're a kid and you're tired of that, you'd feel like there was nothing else out there. Then they'd have to like really search to find something that was different. And now I feel like everything's available to you through YouTube or Spotify, whatever interests you have. I guess that's one positive.
Thank you so much, and we will be back for the next edition soon.